Yeah. Well, our project today, of course, we're going to be installing a ceiling fan way up there. And here's my 8-foot ladder here next to the edge of the bed. I had to straddle it a little bit in order to reach it. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to have to face the ladder straight across or cattywampus, you know, over in here. But if I went too far, I might not have been able to reach it. And so I feel pretty comfortable up there. And I'm going to be installing this ceiling fan today. Look how big this ceiling fan is. It's in a master bedroom, 72-inch ceiling fan, and it happens to have 9 ceiling fan blades on there, and I have to install an extension rod way up there and all that. So if that's something you want to watch, stick around. Well, I guess one of the first things I'll do is I'll pull everything out of the box and read all about it and all that kind of stuff and get myself kind of familiar with it before I do too much. Okay. Once you unpack everything, you might think, hey, I can't do this. I'm not an electrician. Where on earth are all these wires going to go? Look at this. There's 5 wires coming out of the motor assembly. Usually there's maybe 3 wires coming out of the motor. This one in particular has 5 wires coming out of here. Here's a little remote sensor that gets installed way up high in the ceiling. Look at all these wires. How on earth am I going to figure this out? Well, step by step you can do it. You don't need an electrician as long as you don't have hot wires up there. You can do it. We're just going to turn those wires off. You can go back to the electrical panel, turn your breaker off to this particular lighting circuit, or you can turn your light switches off. And I'll get to that in a minute. And here's a wiring diagram and everything. Save this manual because there'll be troubleshooting in here in case your ceiling fan ever stops working. Let's say there'll probably be an area, see here, troubleshooting, how to install your remote control, and then there'll be a phone number for parts, how to order, see, how to order repair parts. And there'll be a phone number there and all that kind of stuff. Save this, don't throw this away, okay? And see, it came with a little plastic container, and I'll put this in there, and if I have any extra mounting screws for the ceiling fan blades and stuff, I'll put in there and all that kind of stuff. And this has a handheld remote control. That's kind of slick. Oh, this battery is different. It's a little flat battery. And I'll have to see what to deal with that. I thought it was going to be a handheld remote. You know what? I think it is a handheld remote. I think this inside bit pulls out. I'll look at that later. And then this other thing is a mounting deal that you mount on the wall, is what I'm thinking. And when I opened up the box, the first thing that hit me was this. And you've got to read everything. Important. It's imperative that you read the instructions found in the owner's manual for programming your DC fan. Your fan will not operate properly if this step is omitted. And what they mean by that is this comes factory set a particular way, and it shows you how to reset it and everything, but you can't use it in the factory set position. They tell you it doesn't work. So that's why they say it's important you read the owner's manual and the directions and everything, or else your ceiling fan is not going to work. And then you might get it all installed and think, what do I have to do? It's not even working. I knew I couldn't do it. I probably wired it up wrong or something. And no, it's because the remote, the handheld remote, is not hooked up properly. And on the back, this is a remote that fits up in the ceiling. See, this is all that holds the whole thing up there, is this one mounting bracket. 2 screws, and that's it. And then it fits up in there. I'll show you how to do it, don't worry, okay? And then after you install that up in the ceiling, this thing slips in there, right through there, and it fits up in there, and it's a really tight configuration, and then it fits up in your trim housing and all that, and that fits up there in the ceiling. Well, see, this thing here has little buttons on it too. See the back side here? It's factory set. You take a little screwdriver or the tip of a screw, let's say, and then you can make your own. I think there's 32 different codes you can make it. You could just turn one of these and the associated one in here, and it will work. Okay, you don't have to do too much fancy rigmarole and all that. Okay, so you just stick around and we'll get this thing. And when I purchased this, it tells you on your ceiling height what type of extension rod to get, because it's 72 inches in diameter, and because we're at a ceiling that is cathedral ceiling, it comes up at an angle. Of course, I got to put a down rod way up there. It only came with a 6-inch down rod, and then in the store there's another place where you can get different extensions, and you can get these extensions. I think 12 inches, 18 inches, 24 inches, 36 inches, and 48 inches long. Can you believe that? And all different types of colors. So make sure before you pick out your extension, don't just guess on the color, because they have another one that's fairly close to this color. And I actually had to take the plastic off of here a little bit, and then I had to have them open the container, and I said, yeah, open it up because I want to see what color this is. And see, this is me at the store. I actually opened this like that so I could see the actual color, so I could line it up with the color of that, because like I say, they've got different colors. You want to make sure it's kind of an important deal to get that. Look at that. Did you see that? This has a little cotter pin on it, and I believe I just dropped it down on the carpet, and my carpet, I'm gonna have to fish for it now, because we've got kind of a shag type carpet, and I'll find it. It's down in there somewhere. Okay, and anyways, it's very important to get the right color down rod, the extension rod. Okay, all right, I'll be back to you in a minute to talk about the wiring up at the ceiling and all that. I've got to find this cotter pin first, or I won't be installing anything today. Oh man, I was freaking out there for a second. I looked all around there. I could not find it, and I actually had to shine my light on the carpet, and it's right down in here. I just saw it, and I wanted you to see it. There it is, right there. And it's funny because I was standing over here, and that's where I thought I dropped it. Here's the little cotter pin. See that? Now, had I have lost it, I thought maybe when I took this apart at the store, out of the plastic bag, it came off. But well, I was lucky enough to find it. See it? Once I put it on there, it fits on there like that. That's all. See? I could have put a little wire in there, or I could have taken one of my other ceiling fans apart. It would still have worked, because this gets set slightly a different way. That this actually gets screwed in to the top of the motor housing, whereas lots of ceiling fans don't do that. It's relied specifically on just this, but this gets screwed in, and then 2 set screws get on there, and this. So it still would have worked, and then I would have had to have gotten this at the store later. But man, I'm glad I didn't give up for looking for that. Okay, so now now I've got to do some determination on some electrical, on the light switches and stuff. Where's my mounting bracket? I've got to look at my mounting bracket. This is the only thing that gets mounted up there. Lots of them are installed differently, and so two screws is going to hold all of the weight. And see where that hole is. If you have a cathedral ceiling, you want to face that facing up or sideways. And I'm looking at the box up there. The box is going down. The slope of the ceiling is going straight down, and that's where the screws are. So I'm going to have to place it like that. I wish the screws were that way, because then I would have placed the screws up this way, or something like that, and then it would hang a little bit better. But it'll still fit in there and hang. But if it was facing the other way, obviously you would not want to install it this way and try to fit it up in there, because you've got to fit that knuckle on a definite little groove. See that little notch right there, that little nib? See? And I'll show you that. Okay. But I first want to figure out which wires go where up there. And I'm looking up there, and see there's some wire nuts from the last ceiling fan that I pulled down. And you see there's a red wire, a black wire, and there's a white wire up there and a green wire. See, there's the white one. I'm trying to hold this and zoom it at the same time. And see, the black and white wire and the ground wire are the only ones I'm going to install. And see, I've got 3 switches here on the wall. 2 of these switches go up to that ceiling fan location. 15 years ago, they used to install 2 ceiling fan switches, one for the power. So when you turn it on, then you would have to get up there and pull a chain. High, medium, low, off. High, medium, low, off. Well, phooey on that. Who wants to do that every single time? We could have reinstalled the existing ceiling fan, but I didn't want to do that. Because it didn't have a light kit. It was not remote control, handheld remote control. It had the chains sticking down, and there was no light kit on it. Even if there was a light kit, I wouldn't want to do it, because on the old ceiling fans there's a pull chain for the light and a pull chain for the high, medium, low, off. And so the other switch, one switch would be for power, for high, medium, low, off, that you would control with the pull chain up there. And then the next one would be just for a light kit, and that's what that red wire is for up there. Usually you don't have to, you don't install, you don't have to hook up a red wire to a new ceiling fan nowadays. New ceiling fans nowadays, you get the black wire, the white wire, and the ground wire, and that's generally about it. And what I'm talking about, and I'll come back to this later. But see all these wires on this? This is the remote control that fits up in the ceiling, that your handheld remote will activate this. It looks like a lot of gobbledygook. And there's remember there was 5 wires coming out of the top of the fan housing down there. Well, none of those get hooked up to the main power. The only ones that get hooked up to the main power is the ground wires, and this one just happens to have 2 ground wires for some reason. Most of these only have 1 ground wire sticking out, but there's 2 green ground wires, and they're noted by the G on there. Okay, so those 2 are going to be hooked up to the ground, and then these 2, black and the white. And see that? It says ACN. Can you see that? It doesn't seem like it's wanting to come in all the way. That says ACNL, meaning the load. And then you look on this one here, and this says ACNN, which is neutral wire. The load wire, which is the black hot wire, and the neutral wire. Okay? All of these here go to the motor assembly. None of that goes to the power. Okay? And each one has a little mark on it. This one says for light. This This one here says for lights, so there's 2 for lights. But see, all you have to do is blue to blue, brown to brown, yellow to yellow, red to red, gray to gray, with the wires that are coming out of the ceiling fan. Okay, you're going to hook all these up. So the ones to the ceiling main power is your white wire, and I'm going to strip this back further on your black wire and the 2 ground wires. That's it. Okay, so remember that we got for this one. That's all we're going to do. But we're going to look up here, and I'm going to try to zoom it in. I've got it on the tripod, so it's going to be easier now. Okay, there happens to be 2 green wires there, but there's only 1 green wire that goes up there, I think. That other one is a jumper wire, I think. And then you see there's a red wire, then there's a black wire and a white wire. Well, the red wire, I'm going to leave with the wire nut up there, and I'm never going to use that. I'm just going to hook up the black wire to the black on that remote control, the white wire to the white on the remote control, the green wire up there to the 2 greens from the remote control, and that's it. That red wire, like I said, it was for a light kit for the old ceiling fan type applications. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn all of these off, and these are single pole light switches, meaning these only go up to there. 2 of those go up to there. This third one, I'm not sure exactly what that does, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this goes to the 2 lights by the bed. Let's just see if I'm right. Okay, I'm going to turn that on there. Okay, and then I'm going to hit this. See there? Look at that. I was right. Okay, and usually if you don't want to control everything right here, just leave that on, and then when we go to bed, we just come over here and we'll just turn it off right there. And that goes down to an electrical outlet down there, and whoever wired this, they wired it so that the light, which is the top of the electrical duplex receptacle, is activated by the light switch, and the bottom is hot at all times. You can do that on electrical outlets. Did you know that? Okay, so we know this one is for by the bed, the 2 lamps by the bed. Okay, and I'm just going to leave those. I'm just going to leave that on, and so I'm guessing this is the main power for the ceiling fan up there. The high, medium, low off on the old applications, and this one is probably goes up there to that red wire only. And so eventually, and so I'm going to go up there and check it out right now, but I'm going to leave these off right now because I want to identify which one is which, just for my own peace of mind, for my own sake. But see, eventually, whatever it is, one of these, the main power, it's just going to be a power switch, we'll call it, for the ceiling fan. We're going to, if it's this one, we're going to leave it on at all times. And then the handheld remote will work all the time. If this ever gets shut off, the handheld remote will not work at all. So you're going to have to turn that back on, and that'll turn the power on up there. And then this one here, this is not going to be anything anymore because the red wire is going to be capped off. Okay, and so this one will never work anymore. Sorry about that, because we've got a ceiling fan that only needs 1 of these from now on. Okay, so I'm going to turn both of those off, and I'm going to get up there and carefully. I'm making the assumption the power's off up here, but I'm still going to be careful when I'm taking the wire nuts off and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's our next step to identify which wire goes where. It's pretty simple. You know, you don't have to be an electrician to figure all this stuff out. You know, play this back and it'll start making sense to you, and you'd be like, is that all? Is that all? I thought it was going to be really tricky. He's making it sound and look so easy. Okay, so that's going to be coming up next.